Hi guys, welcome to Into the Word. Check this out. I want to talk about shortcuts today, okay? There are certain individuals who love taking shortcuts, right? It's easy to take a shortcut. So easy, but it's hard. It may be time consuming and it may be more difficult, right? And it may take more energy to do a particular thing properly, but it's far better to do it properly in the first place than take a shortcut. If you take shortcuts, it may have a comeback on you, right? So it's far better to do a thing properly. Check this out. I want to talk about managers. I know certain types of managers who love taking shortcuts. There could be a number of reasons why they like to do that. Number one, it could be that they haven't been trained up properly by the company who they work for. Number two, it could be just the simple fact that they can't be bothered. They can't be bothered, okay? It takes energy, it takes time, and it takes effort to do a certain thing properly. And some managers who I have come across, and they just like to sit around, they do minimal work, and they just like to sit around just reading their newspapers and different things like that, browsing the web and stuff like that. But taking shortcuts will have a comeback on you, okay? Now, there's a company who have lots of employees, they have lots of managers, okay? And the workload is measured against how many employees they have in a particular department, how many hours they have, how much work there is, okay? How much work there is on a daily, monthly, yearly basis determines how many employees will work in a certain area, okay? But what these managers do is the work comes in on a daily basis. It's not recorded accurately, okay? Overtime is being booked on a daily basis because there are some people who take longer to carry out a particular job. Some people, they don't take as long. Some people take twice as long. And so overtime is booked against those individuals who are taking longer, okay? And again, we're talking about a manager recording data properly. This is what we're talking about, recording data properly, okay? It's not data analysis, but it's recording data correctly, doing a job properly, managing a workforce properly, okay? Now, the workload comes in, the overtime is booked, okay? And there's a way that the overtime is booked, okay? It goes against people that are off on annual leave, okay? That's one type of overtime, okay? Then it goes against people who are off on sick leave. That's another type of overtime, okay? And so you have two different types of overtime, okay? So you have to book certain overtime against a certain workload against a certain reason, okay? I know it sounds a little bit complicated, but please try and follow me, okay? One lot of overtime will be booked against sick absences, people who are sick. One lot of overtime will be booked against people who are on annual leave, okay? So when you crunch the numbers, when you do all the analysis, when you record all the data properly, it gives you a proper breakdown of what's happening on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, okay? So when it comes to doing a revision, because don't forget, in this changing environment, the work fluctuates, okay? So most of the time the work goes up and then sometimes it goes down. As it goes down, sometimes it could go down. The workload that comes into the department can go down year on, year out, okay? And sometimes it can go up. At certain times of the year, it goes up, okay? At certain times of the year, it goes down. And so what they do is we have what's called a revision, okay? So every so often, a company will do a revision. And so what they want to do is they want to reduce the amount of hours in a particular department based on how much work has been coming in. Okay, how much workload has come into that department. If we have 20,000 items coming in one year, and the following year we have 15,000 items, then the following year after that, they want to reduce the amount of hours that are in that department. Why? Because the workload has gone down. Fair enough. But the problem we have is this. If the overtime isn't being recorded accurately, as I said, don't forget, a few minutes ago I said there are different types of overtime, so it has to be recorded accurately. When it's recorded accurately, it gives you a true reflection of what's going on on in the department. If it's not recorded accurately, it doesn't give a true reflection, okay? So if someone's on annual leave, then it has to be recorded as this person's doing particular overtime because the individual who normally does that job role is on annual leave, okay? So when you crunch the numbers, it gives you a reflection of how many hours were spent with how much workload there was. So if you book the overtime as sick absence and the person's on annual leave, it's not going to give the right reflection of the hours that were used according to the workload that has come in. So when the revision is done, the hours that are given to do a particular job is wrong because the numbers they've used to work out the revision is inaccurate, okay? It is so important to record data properly, okay? So important, especially if if you're a company who year on, year out, if the workload is going down, then you want to record the data properly because then you can crunch the numbers and you can come up with how much manpower, how many hours you need in that department. But if you record the data wrong, it's not going to give you a true reflection. So you might record less hours because you haven't recorded the data properly in terms of overtime, in terms of sick absence, in terms of annual leave, special leave and all kinds of other things. Because you haven't recorded the data properly, correctly, why? Either you don't know, or you don't know, you can't be bothered, okay? You just want to chill, have a good time, you just want to just use minimal effort. And I've known people like that in my time, okay? People who use minimal effort, okay? And this is the thing, if you're like that, it won't give a true reflection. So you want to make sure, as a company or an organization, you want to make sure that your managers or the people in charge are recording data accurately. Because as I said before, if it's incorrect and you reduce the hours in that department, then you're giving your workforce too much to do. They can't do it. So you might go up to one or two of your employees and you might say, hold on a minute, you should be able to do this in this amount of hours. Well, they can't. Why? Because the data wasn't recorded accurately in the first place. So recording data accurately gives a true reflection of what's going on. Do you understand? Recording data accurately gives you a true reflection, a true picture of what's going on in the department. How many hours are being spent? How many hours should be spent? How many hours you can save? How many hours you have to put in? Okay? And so you might go up to one of your employees and say, hold on a minute, according to this, this and this, right? You've crunched the numbers, but don't forget the numbers were recorded incorrectly in the first place. You should be doing this, this and this to your employee. Then you're gonna put them on a performance issue or something like that. Why? Because they can't do what's expected of them because the numbers were recorded inaccurately in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying? It's so important as a manager. It's so important as a supervisor. It's so important as somebody who is in charge that if you are recording data, you record it accurately. Okay? It could be the other way around. It could be that you need to spend more hours in the office. So you might need to go to your superiors and say, you know what? I need to put in another couple of jobs here. I need 80 hours. I need 100 hours. I need 250 hours in my department because the workload has gone up. But if you haven't recorded the workload accurately in the first place, how can you ask for those hours? How can you ask your superiors to put more hours into your department when the workload hasn't been recorded accurately in the first place? The overtime hasn't been recorded accurately in the first place. The annual leave hasn't been recorded accurately in the first place. Other training hours that you can have to be used on training, if they're not recorded accurately in the first place, okay? So you could be doing yourself a disservice as an organization, as a business, as an employer. You could be doing yourself a disservice simply because your managers aren't recording the data properly, okay? You know, you could be owed hours. You could have 10 people working for you, an extra 10 people working for you maybe. That could be 10 people who aren't claiming benefit now. Why? Because you've recorded the data accurately. The workload's been recorded. Yes, we had this much work come into our office today. So that's recorded accurately, okay? You got this many staff in your office today. So that's recorded accurately. Okay, so the workload's gone up. It's gone up every month. It's gone up every year. So if the workload has been recorded accurately, then you have a case to go to your superiors and say, hold on a minute, the workload has gone up month after month after month, year after year. Therefore, with the employees I have, I need more hours. I need more hours. I need to employ 10 more people to accommodate the rise in workload. But how can we do that? How can you do that if your managers aren't recording data accurately in the first place? So what am I saying in a nutshell? If you are an employee, if you are an organization, if you are a business, a company employing managers, you must train them up to be able to record data accurately. Yes, it's going to take a bit more time. Yes, it's going to take a bit more energy. Yes, it's going to take a bit more effort, but it's worth your while. It's worth your while. It makes perfect sense to do that, okay? And if you are a manager and you're watching this and you're listening to this, then you need to know that you need to do your job properly. You need to learn to record data accurately, because you could be doing yourself a disservice as a manager. You could be entitled to have more staff working under you, but if you're recording data incorrectly, you could be doing yourself a disservice. Or the other hand is, if you're recording data incorrectly, you could be coming down on your employees heavy-handedly for no reason, simply because you haven't recorded the data accurately in the first place. So you could be treating your staff unfairly because of your lack of effort, energy, time, because you want to sit down and read the newspaper, because you want to do some web browsing, okay? Simply because you are a lazy manager. Sorry if I've had to say that. I didn't want to say that, but there are some people who are like that, some managers who are like that. So what am I saying in a nutshell? We need to learn to record data accurately, because two reasons. Number one, we could be doing ourselves a disservice if we're not doing it. Number two, we could be coming down heavy-handedly on our employees and putting them on a charge of a performance issue unfairly because data hasn't been recorded accurately, okay? Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, it's going to take energy. Yes, it's going to take effort, but it's worth your while, okay? So I hope that was easy to understand. I hope you got that. I hope it's helped in some way, shape or form, okay? So until next time, we'll see you again. Bye-bye.